Hey guys, Gene Graves here. So, as promised, uh, besides doing all the little manga hauls together, this is the one big one that we're basically going to show you. There are a few more books that are actually in this that aren't in the other ones because I got it kind of right there at the end. I was like, well, I'm just going to add in the last one. So, anyway, though, let's get into it. So, we're going to start over here on these ones and kind of work our way around. Some of these I'll give you like a light kind of like thing of what it is, and then that's kind of it because some of these are going to actually be in my catch up review one. So anyway, so we have this one first up, which is Interspecies Reviewers number 3. Basically, really funny. It doesn't show very much of anything. It's still kind of etchy. They show boobs and stuff like that, but really, you don't see any sex or anything else in it. But it's kind of about guys going to different monster girl brothels, trying it out and doing reviews on it, which just the reviews and the situations they get into are funny. So this is one that's really good. See if I can pull these off. And then I have this one. I got these two. Reincarnate Is a Polar Bear 2 and 3. Basically, like a hiker falls off of a mountain and gets he gets reborn basically as this polar bear that's in a forest. And we're still a little unclear of what all that exactly means, but he's a polar bear that got reincarnated kind of in a forest. People see him kind of as a deity, and we have yet to know if he has like any special powers or whatnot, but he's defending they have another specific name, but they're like werewolf people. They have the dog tail and dog ears and stuff, and so he basically is defending them right now, and that's kind of where the story is people keep coming in and trying to capture them or something like that. So then we have Monster Musume Volume 15, another really good series if you have not read this. Basically this one, they have to go back to Mia, which is the serpent girl right here, back to her hometown and win some contests. So but overall, so this one is about basically interspecies, any kind of monster person, kind of getting integrated into the normal human world. And basically the main protagonist guy ends up with multiple girls of all different species at his house and has to figure out what he's going to do, which I don't think he was actually part of the program to begin with at all, and then just somehow ended up with like eight people at his house. So it's really crazy because every time they come in they have to renovate his house again, and by this time he's almost in a mansion. So really good series though. Then we have Worlds in Harem Fantasia. If you have not read this, this is kind of another one that kind of was spawned off of regular Worlds in Harem, but this one takes place in its own universe and whatnot, and it's got kind of a different feel to it. This one, the words worlds in harem kind of seems like it's because that's how it's going to end, with the prince basically that has blood, that just is like an aphrodisiac that doesn't stop once a girl tastes his blood, and that's how he kind of like grows his forces and whatnot. They can't like tell him no or anything else like that when it comes down to listening to him. And he's never forced himself or anything like that, so that's a good thing. I feel like with this character so far, it might happen in the future, I don't know, and then I'll have to question a little bit. Compared to the other one basically is just there's only a few guys, so it kind of like the world is their harem. So but yeah, this one's really good. as well. I'm enjoying it. Then we have De Grey Man 26, a volume I've been waiting for freaking ever, because this one comes out super slow. I think it's been like 3 years since the last one came out. But we are slowly crouching on the end of this series. It feels like. Hopefully there's only a couple left, because if I have to wait 6 years to finish the series, I'm just gonna, I don't know, I'm gonna go ballistic. So, but this is good. If you have never read this, I would insist that you get into it. It is a really fun series, but in somewhere after like volume 20 is when it starts getting slowed down, and just kind of the idea is a little weird. So that's kind of where this is, but it is a great series up to that point. I 100% enjoy this. This is one of those series that I sat down and just enjoyed, but they have like special weapons that comes from like innocence, which as far as we know is kind of like angel powder, or angel dust that has infused with an object or something like that, or a person. And then they fight these things called the Akuma, which are like demons in a way. That's kind of the weird thing. Whenever you start it, you kind of realize like there's a really grim backstory to it. And then as you get to this part, like up close to the thing, it gets a little less scary, I guess. But yeah, so De Grey Man, great series. Definitely, if you have not, just try it out, pick it up. And then we have Plus Size Elf, Volume 4. This one is about a elf that basically came into our world and fell in love with French fries, and you have to be like close to your original weight when you made it to our world, and she's just too big to actually go back. So she befriended basically like a health expert, or nutritionist kind of. He plays many roles on what he knows, and more monster girls have come out of the woodwork with problems like that, and I think one of them drinks beer, one of them eats snacks, one of them likes candy, so they're all kind of in a chubby sense and can't actually like leave the world. And so that's where the fun of this actually comes in. So it is really fun, but it also gives you like really good exercises to try yourself, which I love that. Anything that gives you extra knowledge, I feel like is a really good read. So then we have one of my other favorite series, which is The Girl from the Other Side, Volume 8. This one, it's kind of like almost, I feel like a battle of good and evil, but they've swapped sides because the humans are actually more of the evil people, and the demon-ish people are actually more good guys. Even though it's a curse that kind of comes from them, they're still viewed as the bad guys. But this is a really good one. I love the art in this. This is definitely one that I would highly recommend you pick up. Just because of the beautiful artwork, the story so far, a bunch of other stuff. It's really good. But I feel like we're getting close to with this one that the series is going to be over. Probably within the next 4 books or so. So hopefully not, because I really enjoy this one. But if it's in the cards that way, it's in the cards that way. Then we have Grand Crest War. So I've been reading this one. I read this one already. I'm waiting on 6 to come in from Right Stuff, but they're out of stock right now, so I gotta wait so I can read that one. But this one, basically, Grand Crest War is everybody starts out with like a crest after you defeat some like demons and stuff. Which can you kind of see a running theme here? I feel like demons are kind of in all these. But you kind of have like a seal or a badge or whatever that comes out kind of as your marking, which is your like crest, almost like a family crest sort of. And then you can absorb other people's crest, and you either take over like their territory, get like a special weapon, upgrade kind of your level, all this other different stuff. And that's kind of how that one is. Now they've kind of swapped gears up to this book, because now there's like vampires and werewolves in it, and I'm not exactly sure where we're going from that, but it's a little weird. So, and then we have this one. This is one that I recently got. I got 2 of them. I'm not really that big into jokey ones, so I kind of skimmed through this. It is pretty comical, but this is My Hero Academia Smash. They're just kind of the 4-panel joke mangas, so really good. I think that those are probably just really fun in general to actually get into and read. Then we have this one. This is one that I know is not in one of my other hauls, or any of my other hauls, because I just got it like yesterday. But this is Remonster, a series that comes out really super slow, but is super fantastic. I totally enjoy this whenever this one comes in, because it's in my top 5. I kind of put everything else on the back burner to actually read it. I feel like it's like the perfect combo of creating like a monster society in a book, and leveling up your character at the same time. So I feel like that's kind of how it is, even though it's not really based off of a video game or anything like that. And it's just really fun. I like how now they've brought up that there are 8 warriors of the gods that are in this group, and now they're going to have to fight them, and just kind of figuring out what gods they are, and what's going to happen with it is pretty crazy. I just hope I'm not going to have to wait forever for this one too, because it's kind of like the Gray Men. But yeah, those are really good. Then we have, let's see, I think I'll go with these ones first. So then we have this one. It's a series I have not read yet, but I know so much about it, because I have almost all my friends, I feel like, read this one. But this is Haikyuu. Basically, it's a sports manga about volleyball. If you haven't heard of it, you must have been living under a rock or something, because there's so many people that I hear talk about this one that, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. If you haven't heard about it, then there's some problems we got, but whatever. Let's see. Then we have this one, Case Closed, 73 and Volume 74. Great one, based off the TV show. As Conan basically goes through his life, or Jimmy Kudo, as he is really known, from his alias, and going around and actually helping like solve mysteries and stuff like that are kind of out there sometimes, that not your average super sleuth could actually figure that out. You'd have to be like Sherlock Holmes or something. So, but they're really good. Then we have this one. This is Reincarnate Is a Sword. Again, this is somebody that I haven't read it yet, just because I just got it. But obviously it's somebody that died or whatever and got reincarnated as a sword. So I feel like it's a little bit of a breath of fresh air, because a lot of times what we get is some kind of humanoid or animal or something like that, something that is more so living and can move, is really what it comes down to, that we get a lot of time in like isekais or stuff like that. So this one actually having a weapon that kind of like got the curse or whatever to turn into something, it's just phenomenal. I can't wait to hop into it. Then we have Otherworldly Isekai Nobu. This one is really good. It's like a space-time dimension that's connected. The storefront is connected to medieval Germany. The back of it is connected to modern-day Japan. And so all the people in the middle, basically the workers come in through the back and open up and serve beer and anything you would get at an isekai, which is kind of like an appetizer, kind of like little Japanese pub place. So it's kind of like pub food. And then people from the medieval Europe side, or medieval Germany, actually come in and actually get to have that food. And it's really cool kind of seeing how they interact and how different things actually make it better. So nobody has found out the secret yet, though, except for the owners and one of the little girls that they kind of took in. But really, that's it. So it's really good. Kind of tells you recipes and stuff in it. So it's one of my favorites as well. Then we have How to Treat Magical Beast. Great one. Again, another one that I really like. And so basically, you have the guy up here is a veterinarian, and the girl down here is his apprentice. And what is happening basically is her grandmother, her mother, actually was more in tune to nature and was kind of like a witch or a sage or something. And so she kind of has those powers and can see creatures and whatnot. And she's always like pulling her teacher into it, and between both of them, her knowing kind of like the magic side, the magic of certain creatures, and him knowing basic stuff about the regular animals that they're kind of depicted or based off of, really makes it as a really good, like, touching, fun book. There's different creatures that they see, and sometimes like medicine trying to cure it isn't always the best thing, so they actually have to put a curse on some animals or stuff like that, and it actually helps it in a better way. So it's a really fun one. If you like animals or anything like that, that's probably one for you. And I would say animals or cryptozoology, mythology, something like that. That one is a super good one that I would highly recommend to any of those people. So let's see. All right, so then we have this one. This is Rising of a Shield Hero, Volume 12. Great series. Again, another one that is just stupendous. I really highly enjoy this. They kind of go into a world where the other four guys, or the other three guys, think that it's a video game. He's the only one that kind of takes it serious, but he was given a shield as a weapon and has to figure out how to use it, and it's just... it's really, really good. I highly recommend that because it is a really good series as well. Let's see if I can find this one over here real quick. If I can get it out. You just pull fast. That's all I can say. So to go with that, they also made this one. That is supposed to be really fun. But this is Reprise of the Spear Hero. This is one of the other heroes that's in there. And this is supposed to be him after they complete like the end of the world in Rising of the Shield Hero. And he actually somehow gets teleported back to the beginning. Like the very beginning of whenever they first arrived. And now he's got all this previous knowledge and how to figure out how to get the same thing, but not be such of an ass like he was before. But there's number 1 and this one's number 2. So from the same people, really enjoyable, series. So I have high expectations for Reprise of the Spear Hero, and maybe we'll get one for the Bow Hero and the Sword Hero. So there's no telling. I don't know. Then we have If you know, just think about the sound of a motorcycle. That's what this one is called. That's kind of what it is. And maybe because there's a Doolan in it. I don't know. But this is a part of the $3 arc. It's the one that falls after, I think it's called the Scarlet Crimson arc, maybe. But it's the fourth arc in it, and they don't actually put them together like they should. Like every arc has its own book number to it. So this is 5 of the $3 arc. The other ones will have like different numbers, but technically this would be like volume 17 of the series or something like that. So I hate that they don't put that on anywhere where you can kind of know where you should have started and stuff like that, because there's some other books that do that, and they actually tell you the number for that, and they tell you the number for the actual series. So that's kind of the weird thing with that. But and we have another one I haven't read yet, but we're getting there, guys. We are getting there. This is Skeleton Knight in Another World, Volumes 2 and Volumes 3. Again, it's a Skeleton Knight. I can't wait to read it. I don't know if it's a reincarnation, if it's even an isekai. Maybe it is, because it does say another world, but that doesn't always exactly mean that it's going to be an isekai. So maybe it's an isekai because they're supposed to pull us into the world. Who knows? And then we have Parallel March into or Death March into Parallel Rhapsody, Volume 8. Again, another great series. This one is more based off of a video game. The guy knows that he's in there. He knows that he has these powers, but he's still trying to be like nice because he doesn't know if the world itself in the video game is actually a real world. Stuff like that. But this one is another fantastic read. If you have not picked it up or anything, I like how the main character really is nice and everything with the other characters. I think out of the whole series, or out of the whole book, there's one character that's one of the girls that's super perverted, and he's like, no, this isn't happening, like, chill out. So just really fun stuff. Let's see. Alright, let's take these ones right here. We have To Your Eternity. Basically like an object, it was a rock, absorbs like bodies or whatever. It absorbed like a wolf, and then started actually learning. And as it goes forward into the world, it picks up all this other stuff and friends and everything. And as it goes, when they die, it takes on a new form. And it's trying to figure out how to kind of end that without these other things that are like these little slime ball kind of things that have tentacles to try and suck out his knowledge or something, called Nokers. But they're trying to do that. So, I mean, it is a great one. To Your Eternity is really good because, as you know, none of us are really eternal, so to speak, in that sense. But this is kind of one where you have a being that is practically eternal with the knowledge and stuff that it picks up. And that's what they're trying to suck out of it to turn it back into, I think it turns back into a rock. And then kind of it all starts over again. So it's a really good, I feel like, in-depth one on mortality and stuff. So it's really good. Then we have Idle Sponger Life. This is a guy that somehow found out he had blood from another world, kind of, sort of. Somebody left, and then they, like, married his 27th great grandma or whatever, and shared the blood, got pregnant, had a kid. And so they found him and said, hey, you have this blood to strengthen our bloodline. Again, we want you to marry the queen. And so that's what he's doing, but he's still kind of like on the verge of having to learn kind of like all this different information from royalty in a more medieval set world. And then she's having to kind of learn how to do stuff because he brought actually like things in. He's got AC, he's got strange customs that she brings up, like having the wedding ring and stuff like that. They don't really do that. It's different. So kind of seeing it all meshed together like that is actually fun to me in that story. Then we have Val X Love. You have Odin's daughters, and I think there's 12 of them. I can't remember. But they all have to basically be in this harem with a guy who is seen as a really scary guy because he's got just one of those faces. He's really nice actually and loves to study. But to level up their like abilities and stuff, they have to do like somewhat provocative things or somewhat embarrassing things. Like the easiest one I would say is they had to go on a date. They had to hold hands together or something like that. And then as it keeps going, it gets a little more lewd, like cuddling naked together or something like that. And that's what makes it kind of funny because you have all this, like, what do you do when it comes down to all this other stuff? Like, there's not really very many things you can do to level people up without having somebody mad at you because there's 12 girls or just stuff like that. It's a great series. I kind of jumped headlong into it all at once, like reading 1 through 5, and then waited on 6, and I think this one is 7, and it just, trying to catch up to it and whatnot. Then we have Beastars Volume 3. Again, another great one. If you have not read this, I've read the first volume so far. This is Volume 3, so I need to read Volume 2. But it's kind of like Zootopia with high school and some other stuff rolled into more daily lives. So I really can't wait to get into it because I have heard just a lot of good stuff about it. Then we have this one. Long title, guys. I've been killing slimes 300 years and maxed out my level. So that's what this one is. It was originally a light novel. I really wished, like, really heavily to get this one, and so I'm super happy that we got it. But now I have to read it, and yeah, hopefully at some point, fingers crossed, we'll get there. Let's see what else we got. Terraformers Volume 22, another one I have not read yet, but I do hear a lot of good things about it, and that they've kind of slowed down with the volumes coming out. So I don't know what's up with that, but we'll figure it out at some point. Then we have Ran in the Grey World, Volumes 5 and 6. Ran in the Grey World is basically based off this magic family. The dad can turn into a crow, the son can turn into a wolf, so they're more animal based. The mom is this really like high witch, sorceress kind of thing, and then so the daughter has some magic powers like that. She has like a magic pair of shoes that let her get older, and it's kind of her way of learning through life of what it is to be older, because on the outside she looks like a teenager with having these shoes and whatnot, but on the inside, she's still innocent. She doesn't know anything. She doesn't really understand the world as it is. Like one little thing is a guy hits on her and she doesn't exactly understand that, because she is a little girl. So whether she looks older on the outside or whatever, that's kind of where the book goes, though. So it is a very fun one to actually be able to see that and learn from your characters as they do that. I'll grab some over here on this side. We have Blue Exorcist 23. Basically, there's exorcists in the world. They'll try and figure it out. And one of them is supposed to be the son of Satan. And they have to figure out what to do because now shit's getting real. So, another really good one that I enjoy. Again, y'all will see actually Volume 22 in my read manga in a different video, but just for now, And then we have Monster Wrestling. This one took forever to come out. It's still really fun, but I find it really weird in the aspect of how all the bodies are really disproportionate. You have characters that are wrestling, and you would obviously assume that you would know who the winner would be because of their body size. But some of them you can't do that because somehow they're all kind of the same size. So I don't know, but it's kind of like WWE meets like Monster Girls because they wrestle. So it's kind of cool, but that's one that if you're just not really into that genre, or you're not into wrestling, or having a good laugh, then it is definitely not going to be for you. Um, but it comes out really slow. So if you wanted to try out the first one, you're not that far behind. So, take some more from over here. We have again one that I have not read. This is actually one of my best friends in the community. One of his favorite ones. That's Justy Hooked or Masakio J's, if you know either one. But again, is actually one of his series that he really likes. So I actually haven't read it yet, but I have heard a lot of good things from him because it is one of his favorites, and I probably get asked all the time if I've started yet. So at some point I probably need to, but just not yet. Golden Kamuy, great series. Again, you need to check it out. This is one where it's kind of like feudal Japan, where they're trying to go around, and then to throw into the mix, you have kind of a native people that are there as well, and you also have these prisoners that somebody like made a map out of their skin. They have to track them down and either kill them and skin them, or take paper and kind of draw everything. At some point we'll put the freaking map together. I mean, that's what it is. But I really enjoy that series because they actually go in and give you like survival skills, how to cook certain food in the wild, stuff like that. So it's really cool in that aspect of just giving you all that different stuff. I would say Reincarnate Is Polar Bear does the same thing. So that's kind of the really cool thing when it comes down to it that way. Let's see. Okay, so then we have, trying to push stuff around so I can have room to put it over on this side. But then we have Worlds in Harem, the regular one. This is volume 7, and we have volume 8. Again, this one is a really good series because all the men in the world basically are sick. There's only 5 that they said that they can actually use, and they're trying to repopulate the world, and each one has kind of their own agenda. One guy is like, yeah, sure. Another one is kind of a little bit on board, and I love how their characters are kind of swapping roles. One of them was just kind of this playboy and didn't really control the situation a lot, and now he's kind of wanting to be more of a father. And the other one was kind of meek and everything, and now he's becoming the more brutal, do it because you can't say no, basically. And then we have our main character that's in it that is just trying to find his lover and actually just move on from that. He doesn't want to deal with anybody else. Then we have, for the Kid I Saw in My Dreams, I haven't read this one yet either, but this is a good hardback one too. And I forgot what this one was actually about, but it's done by the same person that does Erase, so it is kind of more of a slice of life. But I mean, this is one that when I read the thing originally, it totally had me, and I was like, I have to get that. It sounds wonderful. So then we have this one. Everybody loves it, Vinland Saga. This is volume 11. I haven't read any of this yet, so but there are plenty of people that have, and you can probably ask them about it. So then we have I Am a Hero. Great series. What would it be like to wake up one day and kind of have zombies, and now they're like fusing together and stuff. So I'm not sure where the story is going, but it's still really good. I really enjoy it, and it's a really thick one that you can actually enjoy. So yeah, just kind of think of Japanese Walking Dead with other stuff going on, and that they can somehow like fuse together at a point. So I don't really know more how to explain that. Then we have Seven Little Sons of the Dragon. This one is like 7 little stories that are put together, but each one is, I think, a different son of the dragon. I don't think they're connected at all, besides being related to him. I don't know. But this is supposed to be a really good one, so I was really happy to pick this one up. And actually get to read it. Like, you know, it reminds me of some other stories that I read back in the day. So, then we have this one, Kitaro, The Trial of Kitaro. If you don't know about Kitaro, it's kind of an old kind of newspaper kind of story. Kitaro is like half yokai and has kind of like superhuman abilities, and at the same time he's kind of like a detective, yet he also tries to help out like the demons in the world and stuff. So it's pretty good. I enjoy it a lot. That's actually the one that I have to read next, and I love how every book is kind of they're not put together. You don't have to read it in order or anything. You know, short of, I would feel like a couple of chapters here and there. Like, obviously the very first Kitaro, you would probably want to read like the first story of how he came to be born, but honestly it really doesn't matter how you read that. It's a really good series. But there's nothing that actually goes together with it. And then we got No Longer Human by Juji Ito. Thick book. Really, really excited for this. Not only because it's Juji Ito, and I have actually found a better liking for Juji Ito after I actually read the stuff last year and all that. But because I've actually read No Longer Human, the first manga that was published off the same book, and just kind of the weird events that it is. So I'm really, really excited for that one as well, because I've read that one, and now I'm going to get Juji Ito's interpretation of it, and I may have to read the actual novel, because there's so much like mystery surrounding it. So I think it's pretty cool just to see part of that. Then we have Downfall. I've heard a lot about this one as well. This is one that, again, I can't wait to get into. But I kind of really hope some of the other like little knickknacks that I've heard about it are just something that it's a personal preference for some people. I hope that's what it is, because some of the stuff that I've heard about some parts of it not being like all that great, you know, I hope it's not true, you know, because I actually like that author really, really much. Then we have I'm Standing on a Million Lives, Volume 2, Volume 3, and Volume 4. This is the first one was actually sent to me by my buddy Altuck Mike. So I haven't read that one yet, but I know enough of the premise, because after he kind of like read it, he was like, well, what do you think about this? Da, da, da. And I was like, well, I want it, but I didn't pick it up, you know, or whatever. You know, I probably am not going to be able to catch up to it. He goes, no, there's not that many out. He goes, I'll get you started, and sent me the first volume, and that was kind of the end of that, of getting to actually get into it and enjoy it. So, you know, it's always good to have friends, especially if they don't like something, they'll send it to you. And then we have Tokyo Ghoul Re, Volume 13. So a little different from regular Tokyo Ghoul, which I'm not actually that far into Re. I think I'm like Volume 3, Volume 4. But just kind of like the jump skip, it's almost like Naruto and Naruto Shippuden. You know, it's all kind of put together, but that's kind of what this one is like, that there is more out there than what we learned in Tokyo Ghoul. So I hope to hop back on that one as well. It is a very good series. As far as what I've read, all of Tokyo Ghoul I felt was really good, solid. Tokyo Glory, there's some parts that just make me kind of bored, and that's why it's taken me so long to actually get through it. But at different parts, it's actually made me really enjoy it and pick it up more. So I'm hoping that I kind of get, with the next book that I read for the series, kind of keeps me really interested so I can get into it more. Just because some of the characters, it's just really wordy to try and get to know new characters whenever we had all the characters established in Tokyo Ghoul. So, but I mean, what are you going to do? So, then we have Is It Wrong to Pick a Girl Up in a Dungeon? Familiar Chronicles, Episode Lin, Volume 5 and Volume 6. Another one that I'm super excited to read. Obviously, if you guys don't know, my little icon is Belle Cranel from the series. Is It Wrong to Pick a Girl Up in a Dungeon? And so these, even though I haven't picked up this one yet, it's still kind of, I feel like, my bread and butter for what really stuff that I enjoy to read and everything else. On top of trying everything out there, really, if I get the chance. But this is really the ones that I feel like best describe me on just kind of enjoying fantasy stuff. So then we have To Lover of Darkness, Volume 12. Not one that I've read yet, but I hear like it is darker, more sexier, and smuttier and stuff than regular To Love Ru. So that's what I can tell you about that. Then we have Food Wars 34-35. Again, another good series. Fighting with food. That's all I can really tell you, because that's basically the premise. Is how good is your food? Is it good enough to blow my clothes off? So, that's what we got, guys. Shonen's kind of getting a little more etchier. So, and then we have Dr. Stone 8, 9, and 10. Again, not very far in that series, but I love how it's more of a primitive one now, and that we're building up with the stuff because the guy knows science and all that. I really, really enjoy the story setup like that. Instead of, I like when we go to the future because something happened, instead of going to the past or something like that and saying, oh, well, we could ruin our future. That's something that's just a little out there. Then we have Dragon Ball Z, or Dragon Ball Super. This one is 7. And this one is 8. Again, another good series. I've seen all the movies. My brother actually got me into this series because he was watching the show. And, I've already read Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, so I think it's really, really good. It's going to be really fun to actually get into these series. So then we have Grand Blue Dreaming, another one I haven't gotten into yet, but just trying to get caught up on some of them, so whenever I do get to read them, I'm not without being able to purchase them in the future. So Children of the Wells, most of the way through this. I think I'm 2 volumes behind what I got here, but this is 13 and 14. They're kind of in a post-apocalyptic future where the world is all sand, and they're on this giant piece of floating earth and trying to figure out how to do stuff with their kind of magical power that they have. That, as far as I know, they try to explain a lot of stuff in the series, which is where I feel like it loses me. They try to explain so much, and then I feel like it takes away from the story a little bit because there's so much explanation of where this came from or how that came to be or whatever, instead of just some of the stuff that we would like to know up front and stuff like that. So that one is one that I do enjoy, but it's one that I have to pace myself on reading or I burn out real fast with it. So let's see. Then we have Goblin Slayer Volume 7, another great series. Goblin Slayer goes around has to kill those goblins. That is all you virtually need to know, besides there is kind of a lot of smutty sex scenes that are actually rape scenes. So, you know, because that's kind of what goblins are. I feel like a lot of people just don't understand that actually goblins, that's one of the things that they do. Especially like from their lore through Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. So I find it a little weird that some people haven't already known that, especially people that are like brainy, and just really didn't look that up first, you know. Especially after reading the first book. There's some people that I know have read the like first 3 or 4 books, and they're like, I don't understand this. I didn't see it coming. I'm like, how did you not know that yet? Especially after that first chapter, you know. So I don't know. People will find out, right? They got to. See what else we have down here. We have My Father is a Unicorn. I haven't read this. It's a one-shot. I expect good things out of it. As far as it goes, I only know that the main character's dad is actually his stepdad, and he can turn into like a unicorn, even though he's not technically like a unicorn. He's like a pegacorn or a unicis or whatever. I don't know, but there's supposed to be a lot of good stuff in this one. So we have these ones. This one I got because I have Tales of Zestiria or Westeria manga form. So I got Tales of Berseria. And I'm expecting good things out of it. You know, I haven't read any of this yet because I actually just got it as well. But I am looking forward to a lot of good stuff with this series. It's only 3 volumes, so if it's one that you can get into, Zestiria is 4 volumes, so 7 altogether if you kind of like put them together if you feel like it. If not, but yeah. Let's see, what else do we have here? Let's pull this one out. We have this one. This is Tomo-chan is a Girl. Basically, it's a character, and this is a kind of a joke book as well. Tomo-chan looks kind of like a boy, but is actually a girl. So that's kind of where we get this title. But it is pretty funny, just kind of knowing characters get that mixed up. Because clearly she does look like a girl, but just she's kind of gruff around the areas. And actually the blonde person isn't Tomo-chan. If you thought that, it's the redhead down here in the corner. So that's it. Then we have 7 Deadly Sins, another series that I really enjoy. I know we're getting to the end of it, so I can't wait. But I was a little behind on it, so we got volume 35, volume 36, and volume 37. So I can't wait to be able to actually read this and catch up. Like the rest of it, I just enjoy stories so much, so you know. Then we have Inspectre. This is a detective one, kind of, sort of, that involves yokai as well. But they have to go around, and they get really, really into it. This is 11. That other one was 10. But yeah, they get really into it. There's all this random stuff that happens, and they have to figure out, like, what the outcome's going to be, and how to, like, save people from whatever it is. And it's really weird because some of it really gets and dives into a mystery setting, and it's really wordy. So if I read that, it's like the only one I read for the day because it's so wordy to get through. If not, I have to like take a battle shonen to like relieve myself here and there on it because it's just, there's so much information when they're giving it to you in the book. So, let's see, what else do I have? I have The Heroic Legend of Arslan, Volume 11. Another great series. I love the tactics that's in it. I love the family feud that's going on right now with part of it. And just all the other stuff that is what makes it what it is, basically. We had one that snuck out of our other thing when I showed it, but this is for Food Wars Volume 33. The other ones, I believe, were 34 and 35, so those are the ones we were missing. Then, of course, another good series, One Piece Volume 26, or 92. Where did I get 26 from? 92 and 93. Maybe I twisted my numbers wrong. Oh well. And then, if you know One Piece, you know One Piece. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Union of the Haunted Hot Springs. Basically, a ghost lives at a hot springs. There's actually more yokai people in it than what they let on. But this is 7, and this is 8. And the guy kind of is your normal person that lives there, and they have to figure out what they're going to do. And it's kind of like, it has a love story with it, but then it kind of has like a, where do we go from here kind of thing. Let's see. Then we have, trying to make sure I don't have another one anywhere. Seraph of the End, Volume 18. Crazy stuff, guys. Vampires kind of rule the world, and then there's a little like human interaction in it, kind of, sort of, and they're trying to figure out how to defeat one side or the other for good. So that's kind of where the Seraph of the End comes from, because it's actually like a project of sorts. So we got Boruto 7 and 8. This is a series that I find to be a little weird. I find problems with it like Avatar: The Last Airbender and Avatar: The Last Airbender Korra. Just because, or Legends of Korra, that's what it's called. They modernize it too much. I feel like whenever they put cell phones into something like that, and they weren't there originally, it kind of takes away from parts of it and makes it a little less enjoyable. So I feel like that was kind of my biggest argument with Boruto as with Legend of Korra. So still read it to support, but still kind of I do like getting the nostalgia when I do see like a familiar like form of jutsu or something like that. So I enjoy that. I kind of like seeing the older people from before actually come back here and there. So it's really cool. Then we have Twin Star Exorcist 17, another one I haven't read yet, but again, good things I hear. Platinum Inn. They're looking for God's candidate to be the next God, and trying to do that with the elements of Death Note of everybody could be out to kill you. So, yeah. It has its own twists and turns, special magic items, stuff like that. So, it's a really good one. I highly enjoy, but I know it's not for everybody. Then we have How to Train Your Devil, Volume 2. This is a series I'm really looking forward to. This is only Volume 2. So I'm hoping to get into that one soon as well. Just because I feel like it may be a little bit like Sorry for My Familiar, but it might not be. But it just seems like a really kind of cute little monster series. So I'm really excited for it. Then we have Goblin Slayer. Another one, Goblin Slayer 3, Year 1. So this is kind of Goblin Slayer's backstory of what made Goblin Slayer as we know him in the current series. So, we started when he's a little boy. We get part of his training that he had accomplished, and all this other stuff. So there's just a lot there with that one. Then we also have Goblin Slayer, Brand New Day. This one is, I think, the last volume of this one. And basically, Brand New Day just refers to, it is still in the Goblin Slayer universe, but all the characters in it are basically like newbies. That's kind of why it's called Brand New Day. So you get newbies that Goblin Slayer kind of helps here and there, and then it's kind of like they set you up, you may never see them again. So I don't know how much I feel like I want to invest into that, but it's only 2 volumes, so if it can give me more backstory, I guess, to Goblin Slayer, then I can enjoy it, but there's just some stuff there that I'm kind of like, you wasted it on some random book. So then we have Konosuba's God's Blessing on the Wonderful World, Volume 9. Another fantastic series, even though it gets a little crazy at times, just with everybody that has their own weird quirks in the party. You have kind of a pervert, a masochist, a spell user that dumps it all in one go, and a goddess that's uptight and doesn't really know what to do. So then we have Radiant. This is Volume 8, Volume 9, Volume 10. This one's kind of like fairy tale to me. It's really fun, happy-go-lucky. Gets a little wordy. That's my only probably argument with it. But I mean, we get to figure out what's going on with it. So that's kind of what I find fun about the series. Then we have Demon Slayer. I haven't read this one yet. This is 9, 10, and 11. So all these ones are basically based off of Demon Slayer. I know just very little about it. Which I hate that a lot of people are into it right now, because that's kind of why it's on my back burner that I can't get into it yet, because I don't want to put too much hype into it and then not enjoy the series. So then we have Kakegurui Twin Volume 4 and 5. So this is based off of the regular Kakegurui series, but it's based off of what's her name? Mary, the blonde girl that's in the main series. So it's more of her story and how she reacts to certain things like that. Then we have Angels of Death, Volume 8. Again, another series I haven't read yet, but I've heard a lot of good stuff about it as well. Especially that name, Angels of Death. I mean, aren't angels supposed to be something good? And then Promised Neverland, must read. Definitely have to say that. And I'm sure everybody knows about that one. Fruits Basket, another, Volume 3. Another good one. If you know anything about Fruits Basket, this is one of the continuation series for it. So hop into it if you are a fan at all. Then we have Yokai Girls, another good one. Basically, a guy finds out he has magical abilities, and goes to work for like this medium kind of person that is able to kind of control demons, and she's kind of like his person that goes out on the missions to go stop things or something like that, and she gives him a paycheck. So it's kind of cool seeing what friends he comes up with and what guys he actually gets to fight against, and who knows and who doesn't, about who's a yokai and who isn't. So We Never Learn, Volume 7 and Volume 8. This one, schoolgirls kind of like line up for this guy to help them study because they're all bad at one subject, and they fall in love with him. So we'll have to see where that goes too. Then we have How Not to Summon a Demon Lord, Volume 6. It's a demon lord that accidentally got summoned, so we got to figure out what's going on with the series. It's pretty funny. I enjoy it just because of the comedic factor, and the guy is trying to portray himself as being a badass when he's actually kind of scared. And anytime he does it, he overthinks it, and he always comes off as really harsh. So I love that character in that. Then we have Black Clover. This is 18 and 2019 is on its way somewhere. It was out of stock, but I still ordered it because I'm waiting for it to come in. But great series. Again, read it. I enjoy it. I think I'm up to volume 17 in it, so I'll probably read 18, and then I'll have to wait for 19 to get here so I can read 20. So then we have One Punch Man, volume 19, another good comedic series with superheroes in it. And then last but not least, talking about superheroes, we have My Hero Academia, volume 23. Another one that is really good. Superheroes, kind of like the movie Sky High or Zoom, different movies like that where teenagers have abilities and have to learn. So it's really fun. It's something that I feel like everybody knows about already, but it is a really good series. So, but anyway, that's what I got. I think I tallied it up, and I got 137 volumes. 138 should have been shown because of the other one that came in, or not shown. There's probably about 7 of them that I haven't gotten yet. So, we're probably sitting at about 130, 131 until those other ones come in. But it's phenomenal, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this. You enjoyed all the different manga that I got. And leave comments down below about anything that you saw, what you like, what you don't like, what you think about it, and just let me know. So anyway, I will catch you guys later. Thanks for watching. I'm Jen Graves, and I will catch you guys in another exciting episode. So, bye.